Hello, guys. Once again, we are with Wings of Steel. How you doing, guys?
Doing well. Thanks for having us,
Doing
man.
great. Thanks for
Yeah,
having us.
my pleasure. Once again, it's a live stream interview. Next time, we will do it live, right? Or
Perfect.
face to face.
Yep, I agree.
So, why did you choose to record? Because you have played two shows in France on this European tour, some gigs in Belgium, Germany. So, and was it easy to record those tracks live in France?
Well, I'll say it was very easy for us to record this live album because we actually didn't even know that it was going to be recorded at all. We were not the whole thing. We weren't even planning on it. It's just we played the show, and then after the show, the guy who helped us put together the show, he comes up to us and he goes, "Well, so we recorded the whole thing. If you want to use it for a live album, go ahead." So we're like, "Okay, cool. I guess we have a live album now." So that's kind of how it happened.
So two shows between Paris and Lille, right?
Mm-hmm. It was yeah. We recorded in Lille.
Yeah, I mean, when we received it, it was just like the very raw audio from the mics on the stage to go into the board. So obviously, we had to like mix it and make sure that it actually like sounds close to what it would sound like if you were standing in the audience listening to the show. And I think we got really, really close. It's all super raw still, but it's live. It brings you right where you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, we're surprised it actually came out like that well. But I mean, I will say too, it's the guy who's producing our studio records also produced the live album. So a lot of the same ways that we produce the guitars, produce the vocals, it's very easy for us to get like a very similar sound that we have on the record. And it was, we got a pretty good performance of the songs that are on the album. So I think that kind of ultimately just gave us something that was really a lot closer to the record than we thought it would be. But in reality, it's still like it's a live thing. You can hear the way that things are felt a little bit differently. You can hear it's a more organic feeling to it.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that the guy who mixed it is from France too. So
yeah.
My question about this European tour, it was your first, of course, and any feedback? Of course, it should have been a fantastic trip, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're super happy with our first tour. We wish we could have played a couple of more shows than what we did. I think we only played 14 in total. Next time we'll be sure to play more.
11.
But
we played 11. We've only
we played
14 in total.
14 in total. Yeah.
Ever.
We played 11 on that tour, so next time around we'll definitely play some more shows. But I think the support that we received, we didn't really know a lot of what to expect when we came out. We knew that a lot of people had been like buying the album, commenting. We knew there was some hype for sure. But yeah, the response totally blew us away, whether it was at the festivals or the headline shows in particular too. And then you get to France, we had two of our highest attended shows there, and the energy was just so great, man. It's we can't wait to get back out there again.
Yeah, we came in there. We had no idea how it was gonna go, and we were welcomed with open arms, man. And it was just it was really, really great. And all we can say is we wish we could have played more shows in more places on that first tour, and we cannot wait to go back next year. So I mean, I would say, all things considered, everything went like really pretty smoothly. Like, we didn't really have any major gear issues or malfunctions. We managed to have pretty much all the gear that we needed when we needed it. We managed to get hotels for we pretty much had a hotel, or at least some place to sleep, which was nice. We didn't have to like sleep in the car or sleep anywhere else. We managed to get food. That was good. We sold a lot more merch than we thought we were going to sell. Like, we had to restock our thing halfway through the tour.
That's what I was going to say. After the second show we played, we had to put in an order for more merch. We thought we had brought out like an adequate amount of stuff, and like we still had some stuff after the second show, but we definitely needed more.
No, we needed more. So that was great, because that like helped.
That was a good surprise.
yeah, that helped us, make sure that like there wasn't any. We were able to cover what we needed to get financially, which was awesome. That was a big thing we were worried about. And then other than me, I got sick halfway through the tour, really horribly, but everybody else stayed healthy. So other than that, it was pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, around the time you got really sick though. Everyone got sick except for Stefan, our rhythm guitar player. He doesn't catch anything. He's like immune. It's great for him. But another thing I'll mention too is I think a great surprise that came out of this tour was this live album. Again, we didn't know about it was going to be recorded. And from the same show, Parker mentioned this in the previous interview, they actually arranged for us to have a chef there. So he cooked like an excellent like gourmet meal for us before the show. So we had like the best type of energy going into that show. Yeah. I guess they wanted to make sure that we sounded good on the recording.
Yeah, so I think overall, man, this tour was really, really special, and it's cool that we have like this live album that was kind of like a piece of that tour, the energy of that tour that's captured forever. But I do think too that just us being able to finally, because before this tour we had only played 3 shows and they were all here in LA, so this tour was like kind of in a way like the live introduction of the band. And I think being able to do that, and I mean, I think especially with some of the festivals that we played, like, I think that that really helped us like go out there and like make a name for ourselves and let people know what we're about. And I think that's kind of been echoing around now for a bit, and that's been something really cool to see unfold.
I mean, we're lucky to have really cool guys in the band. I think we all love hanging out with each other. I wish we had a little more time to like go and see stuff when we were traveling around, but overall, like, I think it was a great first experience for us doing this tour. I think it taught us a lot, and I think the next one's going to be even better.
It shows also that this band shows that heavy metal is pretty alive, especially in your style, very authentic thrash metal. Or not thrash metal, heavy metal. Sorry.
We have our moments.
We could be thrash metal, right?
Well, we played a cover. We played a cover on the tour by Metallica. So that was cool.
Which song?
It was a Creeping Death.
Great. You know that I started metal with this song. My father bought me a tape. It was late 80s. I studied a tape with a mini Creeping Death. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, that's cool. So we have that recording now. We of course we didn't put it out on this live album, but like we have it. If at some point we feel like we want to license whatever we need to in order to get it out, we could. It's cool. It brings like a nice kind of energy into the set, which is also the reason why we play that song. So it makes sense.
Will you stay independent for the next? Maybe you got in touch with labels or stuff like this? Would you stay independent next year?
It really all just depends on circumstance. I mean, we've stayed independent now just because if we look at our circumstance from all angles, the angle of, okay, how can we know that we're going to be guaranteed that our thing is going to receive the maximum amount of effort to be pushed forward? And how can we know we can be guaranteed we're going to make the most money? How can we be guaranteed that we're going to be able to do everything the way that we want to do it? So far, with the offers that we've received thus far, as we're doing this interview, the thing that's made the most sense for us is to stay independent. But I mean, that said, like we're not against being on a label, and I mean, we would very much like to work with a label to help us spread our CDs and vinyls, get them distributed better to other places in the world outside of the U.S. so that more people can buy our music and experience it. But it really just comes down to is we need to be in agreement with a label that our core incentives are aligned with theirs, essentially. That's the thing, is that when you're your own band, you do everything yourself. You get to keep all the money for the most part, but you got to do it all yourself. So it's definitely a trade-off. But for us, money is secondary. The most important thing is that we can write and write the best music, put on the best live show that we possibly can, and share that with as many people as possible. As long as that's the most number one important thing for us. So
yeah, while retaining the rights and retaining our creative freedom, I think is very important to mention as well. But I mean, it's kind of like Parker said, it's all circumstantial. It's I think you know yourself where you're best situated for your current like situation. Like if it makes sense for you to get on with a label, if the deal makes sense, then it's completely fine. It's not like we're against deals per se, you know. It's like Parker mentioned, like it's just gotta have the right terms. It's gotta be mutually beneficial to both parties. Mm-hmm. But of course, if we were independent right now, but we have no idea what the future holds. You know, 1 year from now, it could be different, could be the same. Whatever makes the most sense for our current situation.
By the way, do you have a lot of new stuff for your second album?
Yeah, so it just came back from America.
Yeah, he asked us at the beginning if we came back from US tour. It's like, well, it wasn't a tour, but yes, you did come back from America. So.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we were doing. We were writing and recording material for our upcoming studio release. So we pretty much got everything done. It's just the drums that need to be recorded and then mixed and mastered, which is really cool. So we're gonna have that one out sometime next year, sometime during summer. We're not going to get super specific with it right now, but yeah, it's gonna be freaking great, man.
There's some more kick-ass heavy metal coming your way.
We probably don't need to play Metallica again, but yeah.
No. I think we've written some songs that occupies that kind of energy. So
right.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
And if you change one thing, what would it be in studio compared to the first album?
I mean,
it's really hard to like put a finger on, right?
It's not really one thing. Like I think the thing is like from the EP to the Gates of Twilight album, now to this album. I mean, the EP was really the first record that Leo and I produced together ever. So there was a lot of learning curve, but we managed to polish it out and get it sounding really good. I think, and then from the EP to Gates of Twilight, we learned a lot of things. Said, okay, we should do this like this because then it'll make this easier. This will come out smoother. And yeah, it was the same from Gates of Twilight album to now this next album that we just finished writing. Yeah, I mean, we learned some stuff. It's really like small details, like you know, how long you spend recording a certain thing, and you know, how you go about writing certain sections, and you know, the way that you record the guitar, the way that you record the vocal, doing it in a way that makes the production of it good, makes the sound clear, but it also sounds as good as possible. Like it's kind of hard to describe this unless you're like you're a producer, you're somebody who knows all this. But in a nutshell, that's kind of what it is.
But most of the time, few details are very important in a excellent album, right?
Well, that's the thing, you know. Somebody said the difference between good and great is detail, you know, and that's good. That couldn't be more true, you know.
So what about USA? So I've just see an interview with that I can't remember the guy, but really famous guy who said that rock and roll or metal is dead in the US.
That's not entirely true. I think the key difference is that I think in Europe it's a little bit more concentrated, and there's more festivals and it's more affordable. So I think like where Leo lives in southern Germany, you know, you drive 1 hour this way, there's a festival. You drive 1 hour that way, there's a festival. You drive 1 hour that way, there's a festival. You know, and then there's like a bunch of small clubs, and there's bands to go see. And when you go see these festivals, like, you know, I mean, here in the US, you'll spend several $100s to go see a festival, and then, you know, it's expensive to get hotel and food and everything. When you go to a festival in Germany, you know, I mean, a lot of them, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, what was Keep It True Festival? It was like something like $100 or $120 or something like that. That's not that much. And then you go and the beer is cheap, and like, it's not like people can afford to do it. and it's just there's more of these events that happen. So I think it gives people more of an opportunity who are into the same style of music to kind of congregate and get together, and then you have a scene, and it kind of stays alive. Whereas in the U.S., I mean, the U.S. is a bigger country, so we're a lot more spread out. So I would make the argument that there's just as many fans of rock and metal music in the U.S. as there is in Europe. The difference is that they're all spread out, and we don't have the same kind of festival culture and affordability to go see the shows as there is in Europe. So it's from that standpoint, it's a little bit more difficult. There's still a lot of festivals in the U.S., and there's still there's still lots of places to go see shows, but it's definitely not quite the same as it is in Europe.
I think the U.S. could do really well with a couple of more smaller to mid-sized festivals where bands who are not Judas Priest and like not that huge-sized band can actually get an opportunity to play and bring out their fans, and people can actually have a reason to congregate to certain areas. Like I feel like that would do really well. That's what's being done really well in Europe as well, where they do have the huge festivals with the big names, but they also have a bunch of mid-sized or smaller festivals where a lot of bands get the chance to play and a lot of fans can come out too.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing too, because you kind of mentioned this before, so we largely consider our band to be from the U.S. because this is where Leo and I met, and this is where we write all of our music, and this is kind of where we started. Even though now, I mean, our other guitar player Stefan lives here in LA, but our current drummer and bass player, they live in Germany and Belgium, so half the band is from Europe, anyways. But yeah, so we've really wanted to come and do tours in the U.S. Because we have a lot of fans out here, and this is like it's like I said, it's kind of like our home country, so to speak. But the main issue is that you have to get the proper visa to be able to play the show legally. And it's just it's a difficult process to get that done. It costs a lot of money, and you have to procure all these different documents and materials, and it's just it takes a lot of time, and it's not that the time or the cost of it is the issue. It's just hard to get everything lined up so that we can be able to successfully obtain the visa, and not just but we'd also have to get for our bass player and drummer as well now. So
and meanwhile, it's super easy to come out and play here.
Yeah, I think in Europe, Americans don't need the visa to go play in Europe. So that's awesome. I'm very grateful for that. But yeah.
But also, I mean, there are a lot of bands who are in the same position as we are. So if we can just overcome this hurdle, we'll be in a significantly better position than what we are right now when it comes to the U.S. market.
It's fun for us. It does if it's 10 people, 100 people, or 10,000 people. As long as we're there and the energy is good, we love it. So we can't wait to get out there and finally play for so many people who've been waiting to see us. So
great, thank you again, guys. And so let's remind that this live album is out December the 13th, and it's recorded live in France. Congrats, guys!
Thank you very much, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. And see you next year in France or in Europe.
Yes.
See you then.
We'll see you then.